Hello! So today I'm going to be talking about The Will of the Many by James Islington. Now, I haven't read that much sci-fi and fantasy this year. Normally I try to keep a healthy mix of all genres, the genres I love: horror, sci-fi, fantasy and literary fiction, but definitely this year I have lent more towards literary fiction. Which is totally fine. I tend to just read whatever I fancy reading, and if that ends up being a lot more literary fiction and other genres, I don't really care, because I like to just read whatever I want to read. But I did want to end this year reading some sci-fi and fantasy. A friend of mine has been pestering me to read the Sun Eater series for the longest time. They've been pestering me and pestering me and pestering me. I said, fine, absolutely, all right. I will read the Sun Eater series, but you have to read them along with me, or at least reread them in his case. So I have started that. I've started the Sun Eater series. I've read one book, and I will do a review of the first 3 books all in one hit when I get there. But as the end of the year nears, I wanted to read a fantasy book that everybody considered to be the best fantasy book of the year. So I did a little Googling and I found out that The Will of the Many is loved by so many readers, but also equally loved by so many reviewers. So this is the book I picked. It is book 1 in the Hierarchy trilogy, but who knows, there could be more than 3 books. Being a fan of sci-fi and fantasy, we just have to deal with the fact that an author may say it's only going to be 3 books, and then 15 books later, we're still going. It is the curse and the burden we all have to suffer. So to give you an idea of what this book is like, I want you to imagine The Name of the Wind. Yes, I know that is a lazy reference, but it's just the one I'm using. The Name of the Wind mixed with a spy novel with lots of kind of like double crossing and intrigue and kind of hiding identities and reveals, that kind of thing, put within a Roman Empire style setting, wrapped up in the magical school trope. And that's this novel. We also have a little bit of Red Rising in this one as well. Let's just get this out of the way. This book is playing around with a lot of tropes that even the occasional fantasy reader will be familiar with. At first, I was quite resistant. I was like, really? Really? This book is the best fantasy has to offer in 2023? Every single idea in this novel has been done before. I was reading through it and I was going, yep, that's been done before. That's been done before. That's been done before. That's been done before. Oh my God, how many more tropes is he going to steal from? What is going on? It was that kind of thing. That's what was happening. But I slowly started to let that irritation go, kind of. Because what James Islington is doing is he might be telling a story, he might be playing around with tropes that have been done 1,000 times before, but what sets him apart is he is doing them so well. So yeah, my irritation at the derivative nature of this novel was lessened because there is no doubt James Islington is a fantastic writer and he is doing a great job with what he's working with. So what's this book about? In the world of this novel, people give over their willpower as a form of currency. Imagine a pyramid, and the higher up that pyramid you are, the more people you are consuming will from. The more will you have, the stronger, the smarter, the better you are in every single way. People at the top of the ladder have thousands upon thousands of people they are consuming will from, and each rung of the ladder down we go, the less and less people you are consuming will from, until you get to the very bottom, in which you are only giving over your will and receiving nothing in return. Enter Vis, a boy in his late teens. Orphaned after tragic events involving his family, he is surviving on the fringes of society, using his previous life's privilege, his combat training and his education to get by day to day, earning extra money in the fighting pits in which he is constantly underestimated. Due to a series of events, and my lord, I am missing out a lot when I say that phrase. I mean, so much of this book I'm missing out by just saying that. However, I can't really say much about spoiling things, so I'm just going to do the age-old saying. Due to a series of events, skipping a lot of the book, he ends up at a prestigious academy, a school for the smartest and highest-born students in society. The creme de la creme of rich wankers. However, Vis isn't just at the academy to learn. Ooh. He's there to get answers, he's there to solve a murder, to search for an ancient weapon, and to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart. And I honestly can't tell you much more than that, because pretty much from the off with this novel, we are quite quickly into spoiler territory. So I'm just going to have to keep it incredibly light as far as plot or anything really, because I can't really say much without majorly spoiling this book. So what did I like and what didn't I like? What I liked. I really like that there was so many twists and turns throughout this one. It really keeps you on your toes. The single point of view works really well, and the writing is solid and flows beautifully. Yeah, James Islington is a really, really good writer. The world building is solid all the way through. There is a fair amount of kind of exposition-y info dumping happening, but in a novel like this, you kind of do need those things just to kind of get things off the ground. But for the most part, as you're working your way through this book, the world is opening up through the story beats at play. There is some really tense moments in this novel, and I think Islington handled them beautifully. And finally, I really like the politics and the scheming at play within this. I really like how Islington has placed our lead protagonist into a sort of position in which they can trust no one. And we really feel that following their journey, not knowing who to trust, trying to figure those things out. Yeah, I think Islington played around with those tropes really, really well. What didn't I like? Two things, one big, one small. Now, I've already talked about how derivative the tropes are within this novel, and how actually I eventually let that irritation go, and I kind of did, but I couldn't escape how tired and overdone the story beats and the tropes within this novel really felt. Everything that you can imagine that can happen within the magical school trope, the academic fantasy trope, happens in this book. Within this novel, we have the levelling up of classes. We have the students and people who don't think he belongs there. We have the bullies who are hell-bent on displaying their smarts and intelligence by putting Vis down. We have the teachers who don't like Vis, making it harder for him to level up. And of course, you've probably guessed it. Now, what will happen at a magical school? What needs to happen at the end of the year to kind of bring everything together, to kind of be like the finishing point? Have a think. Is it some sort of competition? Is that what you're thinking about? Some sort of competition that pits all of the students against each other? Is that what you're thinking? Yes, it is what you're thinking, because that's exactly what happens in this novel. So yeah, every turn, every moment, every story beat, even the story beats that you're probably like, no, that was a bit different. Think about it. No, it wasn't. So as much as I am praising James Islington for how much of a fantastic writer he is, and how amazing it is that he can make these tired tropes incredibly engaging. And as I said, I'm not lying when I said there were tense moments and I enjoyed all the twists and turns that were happening. And I'm not saying that I could predict the twists and turns that were happening, the specifics of them, but the sort of plot beats, when they might happen, when things were going to turn around, when relationships were going to break down, when people were going to betray him, all of those kind of things, they just follow a formula which is so tired and old. So even though this is a really, really good book because it's so well written and James Islington does a fantastic job of bringing it to life, it cannot escape the fact that it is just tired and ultimately doing nothing new. And now for my second, smaller dislike. We have very complex politics at play. It's one of the elements I really enjoyed about this novel. The scheming, the backstabbing, the positioning for power, everything happening in that moment, it is really interesting. I really enjoyed it. And also it comes from a really adult place, a lot of adult themes within the politics being played. So it would lead you to believe that like kind of this is an adult novel, especially when you really boil down kind of what this novel is looking at. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, because everything is built upon a corrupt system, and the only way to change the system is to completely destroy the system, that kind of thing. And I really enjoyed those elements. They felt quite adult and they felt real, and James Islington blends that into the story at play really nicely. But because we have those adult themes at play, I don't understand why James Islington doesn't make this a fully adult novel. There is violence within this novel, but it is tame. Make it graphic. Push it up a notch. Make this a really adult novel. It just feels like it sits in this world of like no man's land. It's not quite a YA novel, I don't think, but it's also not kind of like an adult novel. And I know the term is grimdark is probably what I'm looking for in that moment, but I don't know. I think kind of like with the themes at play and the politics that are happening, imagine kind of like Succession, mixed with Game of Thrones, mixed with The Wire, that kind of thing. I want that level. I want it to be and feel that adult. I want to get lost in that kind of world, and ultimately it's just not pushing far enough. Future Andy here. I do understand how silly it is for me to be reading a book that is based within a fantasy world that takes place within a magical school, to be pressing so much on how I want it to be adult. Do you know what I mean? You are well within your rights to go, well, Andy, it's a magical school story. What did you expect? Why do you want it to be like The Wire or something like that? And I do get that criticism of my criticism, but for me, I always like to know within the fantasy I'm reading kind of what it's set within, and I felt like there was an imbalance here. It was playing things too safe, and I wanted it to just push further in general, in all ways, to feel like more of an adult setting. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. But you are well within your rights to go, shut up, Andy, it's a magical school novel. What are you talking about? I do accept that. In this novel, we have a group of privileged 18-year-olds at school / sort of college. And here in the UK, 18 years old is when you can go off to university. So I want you to imagine kind of what students, even at the most privileged and elite universities across this country, what 18-year-old students get up to. You know, like where's the sex? Where's the drugs? Where's the debauchery? Where's that kind of vibe within this school setting? I don't care how strict the school is. I don't care how much you want to advance and how much you are taking it seriously. You will always have those elements. Obviously not all students, but you will have those elements. And this school was just so tame. It felt like I was at fucking Hogwarts. I don't know. Like, give me something. Like, give me... just a bit of bite, a bit of... I don't know. I'm just ranting at the camera now because I actually really did like this novel. But, yeah, it was just too safe. It was just too tame for me. So if you haven't managed to figure it out because I was being so subtle, I'm a little bit conflicted with this one. And I do want to repeat this, and I need to repeat this. I did enjoy this book. I thought it was good. Just because I didn't enjoy this book as much as you enjoyed this book doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it at all. I thought the book was good. I did enjoy it. James Islington is a fantastic writer, and I am not denying that at all. But I read fantasy mainly for its creativity and for something a bit different. And when you boil this novel down, really, I think there's only like 3 original ideas taking place within it, and everything else is based upon ideas we've read before. And as much as I've said 1,000 times already that I actually don't mind that, I don't mind ideas being used over and over again as long as they're executed well, I think actually when it comes to fantasy, I'm not as lenient on it. I think when it comes to fantasy, I expect it to be as creative and as different as possible because that's why I read it. I'm going to give The Will of the Many 3 stars out of 5. I thought it was good, but nothing more than that. And just quickly, I've noticed something on this channel, but also on other booktubers' channels. I gave a book a 3-star review and I said it was good. And people in the comments were like, oh, so sorry you didn't enjoy this one. So it's not that good then. And I was a bit confused because in the review, I said, this book is 3 stars. It's good. I used those words verbatim. So maybe people just associate 3 stars with bad. And I feel like we're at a place where unless you give something 5 stars, it can't be good. So anything under 5 stars means you must hate it. But on this channel, that is not the case. Okay, on this channel, 1 star is poor, 2 stars is all right, 3 stars is good, 4 stars is excellent, 5 stars is outstanding. And it will always be on that scale. So if I give something 3 stars, I thought it was good. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I don't know why I'm labouring that point so much. It's just come up a bit too often. I'm a bit like, I'm really confused here. Why are people commenting that they're sorry I hated it? Like, I literally went, this is 3 stars good. And people are like, oh, sorry you hated it. I said it was good. I don't know. Why are you twisting my words? What's going on? But anyway, this has been a mental video. Sorry, James Islington. It's all coming out in the review of your one. Anyway, moving on. So, to finish off, everybody... I thought this book was good. 3 stars, good. I thought it was good. That doesn't mean I hated it. I thought it was good. And I enjoyed myself. And I probably will read the next one in this series. But I can't deny that I was a little bit upset by the tired tropes in it. I just felt like, considering it was considered the best book, or the best fantasy book of the year by many, I just expected a little bit more originality in that sense. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it was good. It was a good time. So have you read this book? And if so, what did you think about it? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm still going to continue my fantasy journey. I'm going to continue reading the Sun Eater series. And I have never done any of the Joe Abercrombie, Grimdarky, First Law series of books. I've never done any of them. And I keep getting people telling me that they reckon I'd really enjoy it, that they're quite violent and dark and they really go there with fantastic characters. So I am going to start that over the Christmas period as well. I do tend to like to smash a lot of sci-fi and fantasy over the Christmas period. I don't know why. But anyway, there you go. Thank you so much for watching this absolute ramshackle review. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoy whatever you might be reading. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.